Devils. He tried to duck the water bucket and could not. They are the ACC champions. 1 week ago tonight, they were not thinking they'd be in this situation at all. It looked like SMU was going to win in Cal, and SMU would be the team here to play Virginia. But they're here. They're about to get a very handsome trophy from Jim Phillips. Here's PA announcer Nick Pierce.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to direct your attention to the stage for the presentation of the 2025 ACC Football Championship Game Awards. Joining the ACC and the Duke Blue Devils is ESPN's Molly McGrath.
Welcome everyone to our post-game trophy ceremony. Congratulations to both of these teams and their fans on this historic season. And it is an absolute honor to be here on this stage with Commissioner Jim Phillips and the winners of tonight's game, the Duke Blue Devils. It is now time for Commissioner Phillips to present the ACC Championship Trophy to the winning team, head coach Manny Diaz and the Duke Blue Devils. This is Duke's first ACC title since 1989. What did it take to get here?
I took the senior class. They've done so many things they haven't done here in so long. Their belief in each other, the things we've gone through as a team this year, the mental toughness of these guys was rewarded tonight. We said that we were going to win in a Duke way. We were going to grind it down. We were going to win the game on the last play of the game. Luke Burgott won the game on the last play of the game.
Congratulations, Coach. And now it's time to announce the John D. Swafford Most Valuable Player of the 2025 ACC Football Championship game for the most outstanding performance, and that goes to your quarterback, Darian. Darian, what did you learn? What did you learn about this team during that overtime?
Man, this started when I first got here in the spring. The workouts, the pain that we went through, I knew that we were built for this. And that's a Duke game. Coach Diaz preached it all week. We know it'd go down to the wire. And I couldn't be more proud of my guys standing right in front of me.
Ahead of this game, you told us you wanted to continue to prove people wrong. How did you do that here tonight?
Man, we're the underdogs, and that's why we're at Duke. Every single dude that was recruited here, we're all underdogs, and I'm the same. And so I'm just a piece of this puzzle, man. I'm so glad to be part of this team. Thank God, and go Blue Devils.
Congratulations, Darian. And congratulations to your 2025 ACC football champions, the Duke Blue Devils. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and have a good night.
Saw Darian Mentz's mom, Naomi. We told the story during the broadcast. He's so grateful to her. He grew up in Southern California with great hardship. He told us last night it was very hard for me as a child to watch my mom cry because she couldn't pay the bills. And she wondered how she was going to do it, where the food was going to come from. Now he's a millionaire through the NIL, and he has led Duke to an ACC championship in his first year here as the starting quarterback. Wow. You have to feel great for that family, for Manny Diaz. He said as soon as he visited Duke, he knew that was the place for him. And if you've been on that beautiful campus, you can understand why he would feel that way. But he also felt like they had a nucleus in place. This was a 9-win team a year ago.
Yeah. They were great last year, and they just needed a little extra juice. A little bit more out of the run game. A little bit more on the offensive side. They went out and got it, and they are deserving champions. They played a tougher schedule than the others, and the tiebreaker being 5 ways, they earned their way here. And they took full advantage. That's all you can ask for is a chance, and they made the most of it.
So as much as they lobby to be included as one of the conference champions. Will be one of the top 5 highest ranked and get the automatic spot in the CFP. It's highly unlikely. They weren't ranked in the rankings that came out earlier this week. Both Tulane and James Madison were. So we believe that James Madison will be in as the 12th seed, Tulane as the 11th. The top 8 teams, to me, Greg, are going to stay the same. The order will change a little bit. Indiana beat Ohio State, so they'll probably vault up to number 1. Then the question becomes, Georgia won the SEC. Maybe they go to 2. We'll see how far Ohio State drops. And who's the number 4 seed? I would think Texas Tech wouldn't fall out of the top 4 after their convincing win. And, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, they're all going to stay in the top 8. So really the remaining work for the committee is you can only take 2 out of 3 from Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very hot debate, I would imagine, there in Grapevine, Texas. I think Alabama's going to be in, citing the same precedent they used last year when it came to looking at SMU. SMU had to play that 13th game, and they were being measured against teams that didn't have to play in a conference championship setting. Yes, SMU did get penalized and drop a spot or 2, but ultimately they were in the field. I think Alabama will do the same. They do not want to start that slippery slope of de-incentivizing conference championship game participation, which means I think the conversation will center around Notre Dame and Miami. The question is, will they be right next to each other? Because if they are, Notre Dame cannot be in front of Miami. Miami won the game and the results have to matter. But if Bama slides down 1, Notre Dame moves up to 9, and there's a wedge between the 2, that could be enough for the committee to put the Irish in.
Well, based on what you said, if I'm Notre Dame, and I felt this way earlier in the week, why did Alabama vault ahead of us, if you're the Irish, in this week's ranking after they flip-flop places?
Yes.
Because if Notre Dame was still 9 and Alabama was 10 and Alabama lost today, Notre Dame's getting in.
Yes.
And perhaps Miami too. And Alabama's out.
Correct. And I think that's the committee penalized Alabama from 4 to 10 after the loss to Oklahoma. That, from my vantage point, was too aggressive. They lost by 2 at home. They were -3 in the turnover margin. So I think the committee righted a wrong that they made from a few weeks ago. But yes, that's why I think this becomes a very intriguing debate, because the head-to-head has to matter. Unfortunately, it might not in the event in which the Irish slide back in front of the Tide, and the Tide now are being measured against Miami.
And I know it's not supposed to be a factor, but I said it earlier, and I wonder, does Duke winning this help Miami?
Yeah.
Does the committee really want to have a 12-team playoff without any team from the ACC, one of the 4 power conferences, and Miami, an excellent team? We did that game against Notre Dame. I think it's unfortunate, as we said earlier in the game. Last year, you and I stood in the same spot, had the same conversation about SMU, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. Some of the other teams were on the bubble. To me, I didn't really feel that bad for any of them that didn't make it, because they really didn't do enough. Alabama last year lost 2 6-6 teams, including what was then a bad Oklahoma team. This year, there are going to be some really good and deserving teams. We haven't even talked about Texas or Vanderbilt or Utah, and even BYU. Just had a tremendous season. I think we're going to see 16 teams in the future, which would solve a lot of that problem. But there are going to be some outstanding teams that are left out.
And I think what's crazy is that the teams that we're talking about right now, whether it's Notre Dame and Miami, that's where I think the conversation will center. I think both those teams could literally win the national championship. I think they're that good. I think they're built that way.
So is Texas.
Texas is excellent. And they're not a team I would want to face in a 12-team playoff format. So you're going to be leaving teams out that could literally win the whole dang thing. So it's going to be a very intriguing debate, but ultimately, I think Bama's in. I think it comes down to Notre Dame and Miami, and in my opinion, we have to value the result of that Sunday night game on Labor Day weekend, which means I think the Miami Hurricanes will ultimately end up in front of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Because the rest of the records are identical. A lot of the analytics between Miami and Notre Dame are identical, so that's why I think so many people are leaning, so heavily on that head-to-head.
Yeah. Because
if you're trying to differentiate everything else, there are a lot of similarities in all the numbers that they're going to crunch. The devil's advocate would say it was a 3-point game. It was on Miami's home field. They've played a lot of games since then that perhaps Notre Dame could demonstrate that they're better.
Yeah.
But I think the argument on the other side of that's, well, they
they demonstrated that they're both really good teams.
Excellent. And I went back and watched that game this morning just to feel better about the result and feel better about making an assessment on the outcome. And Miami handled Notre Dame. I mean, they won on both lines of scrimmage. It was very impressive. Now, to be honest with you, if they played tomorrow and I was asked to make a pick, I would take Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame has improved to the point in which they are the better team today. However, I cannot overlook the result from week one. I cannot overlook what that Miami team was that night. And that night has to matter.
And again, I don't want to say they might factor in things that they're probably not supposed to factor in, but Miami was left on the bubble last year. Alabama was left on the bubble last year. And before anybody says, of course, Greg, you were a former Alabama quarterback who won a national championship, you're going to lobby for Alabama. You stood in the same spot a year ago tonight and said SMU should be in, which
100%.
Really meant that Alabama should not.
Yes.
So you're not saying that because of your allegiance.
It's precedent. I think it's precedent, and I think...
But they don't have to do it.
Correct. They don't have to.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, I agree with you. Do you get penalized for playing in your conference championship game and losing it? I think if that result was a little uglier today, I mean, the game was starting to get away from Alabama.
It was.
If that ended up 42-10, I think you're alma mater.
Yeah, and I think you can probably look at it too. Like, they blocked a punt, which is great play, and Alabama went for 4th and 2 on their own 11-yard line. You know, I mean, that game, yes, it was sideways, no doubt about it. Bama got dominated. They absolutely got dominated, but I still don't think the committee wants to set a precedent and have teams in the future say, yep, I'm good, I'm not playing in a conference championship because I'm in the field right now. I'm not showing up in Atlanta. I don't want to potentially play my way out of that 12-team field.
Well, then put a rule in that you can't fall out. If you're in the top 10 or whatever it is, you can't fall out.
And I think that'd be something worth looking at. Or we just expand it 16, 20, 24, whatever.
Next year we're going to be talking about number 17 team.
Exactly, with 3 losses and some really bad moments.
Well, congratulations to Duke. You know, there are a lot of people who said, why are they here? They're a very good football team. You know, they didn't play defense well enough a lot of the year to win as many games as they thought they should have. But again, all 5 of the teams that they lost to had 8 wins or more. So I don't think they're going to make it. I think in their heart of hearts, they know they're not going to make it either. But they should be very proud because, as Nick Saban said this morning on game day, conference championships are still very, very important. The final score is Duke 27, Virginia 20 in overtime. For Greg McElroy, Molly McGrath, Taylor McGregor, and our great crew led by Brian Ryder and Jeff Evers. Sean McDonough saying so long from Charlotte.